Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see you. We're slightly short-handed today, so if anybody'd like to come on the show, let us know. Um, Steve is still not here. I haven't talked to him this week. He was supposed to see the surgeon Wednesday, so I do need to holler at him. I may do that after the show. See how he's doing, and if they're going to get his shoulder fixed here for too long. Um, And Jerry was off. What was Jerry doing today? He was
He was working somewhere, maybe with a historical society. I don't
something like that. Okay. That's
remember
what I was
exactly.
thinking. That's what he said. Yeah. Bill is in transit back to Thailand, so he's out of out of sorts too. So it's just Dennis and I, you lucky dogs.
Yeah, he said, just letting you guys know, I will not be on Saturday's show. Our NHRS group has an event going on. I don't know exactly what that acronym stands for, but I believe it's Historical Railroad Society, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah. He does something with that. Helps him out with some of that stuff, volunteers with some of that stuff. So anyway, Dennis and I just been talking about
Scenery.
nothing. Yeah, scenery. Dennis is doing stuff. I didn't get into the train room at all this week. Seemed like every time I got ready to go up there, something else was going on. So um, I just never got up there. Um, so I have nothing to show or to tell you about other than that same area I was going to take down next is still in line to be the next one down. Um, and I got to try and get some stuff cut up to get in the trash can so I don't have to haul it off to the dump. That's where I missed my pickup truck when I could just take some of that stuff, just throw it in the back of my truck and it'd stay there until I went to the dump. But I don't have the truck anymore, so can't do that. But anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Um, who all's here today?
Looks like
Back
we've got all the regulars.
the regulars here. Mr. Anderson's here. There goes the neighborhood. Bernard's here. Lynn McCurdy's here. Good to see you, Lynn. JD's here. Gerald Stewart. How's that engine doing, Gerald? I figured it wouldn't be hard to fix. I think you said last week it was running and pulling cars. I never did get any cars behind it, so he had asked me how many cars it pulled. And I said, I don't have any idea. I never put any cars on it, but it ran really well. I know that it seemed like when I tested it after I bought it. But he bought that from me, that 460 loco I had. Rob T-Man's here. See you, Rob. Who else is here? Steve, Trainway Bills. And Roy's here. Good to see you, Roy. Hey, Roy, somebody told me that you wanted the mountain off my layout, and I would give that to you in a heartbeat if I could get it through the door. There's no way it's coming out of that room in one piece. Uh, so if you want, I can try and save, like the front part of it where you could make a diorama out of it, but I don't know how well that will go because of the way I built it. But if you would like that, I can certainly try to get it off of there when I get ready to cut that out because the rest of the mountain's got to be cut up. It's way too big to get through any doors. If I had a double door up there, I wouldn't be able to get it through there because it's 4.5 feet across at the base, and it's probably 3.5 feet high from the benchwork to the top of it. So it's a pretty good size chunk, and I don't think I can get out of there. But if you think you might want that, front part of it with the bridges on it and the snow shed, I can certainly try and get that off where it could be maybe put onto something else. But I can't guarantee it. So because actually both those bridges are part of the helix. And I forgot to get the okay to stop. I did car 3 Tulsa twice in 2 days. Oh, wow, man. Yeah, just holler. If I'm here, you can drop by, that's for sure. But anyway, just let me know on that, Roy, if you really think you want it. Mark's here. Hey, Mark, I loved your update, by the way.
It almost made me want to go in and read some comments, but I decided not to.
Yeah, it was, that was what he was commenting about the forum thing was the whole reason I don't want to join a club, because there's always at least one person that is just not worth the effort. And unfortunately, because it brings the whole club down. But I did that with the airplane stuff, and I'm not going to do it with train stuff. I enjoy this right here is enough club for me. So
yeah, when I got my very first brass locomotive is it's a Key 280 consolidated. I can't remember how many tonnage it is or whatever the number is associated with it, but it was a non-runner. I picked it up for about as cheap as you can pick up a brass locomotive, a non-running brass locomotive. And I took it apart, was going to put softer springs in it, and there was a few other things going on with it, going to remotor it, yada, yada, yada. And so I got on a forum, I won't mention which one, and was asking a few questions about it. And there was somebody, because I also provided pictures, and somebody came in and they scolded me, just absolutely scolded me because I didn't know what I was doing and I was going too fast. And I remember thinking, who the are you to tell me what to do with my own model, with my own time, my own money?
yeah,
Like you're some kind of it just like, what? Where does this come from? And I left and decided that I guess going into forums and trying to discuss with anybody about a model railroad subject when you can be a keyboard warrior is just it's not worth my effort and time.
yeah. Well, that's why Steve. What's his last name? Anyway, it's my railroad. Steve from It's My Railroad. That was why he started his channel, and that's why he named it. It's My Railroad. I'll do what I want.
Yeah,
because he got the same kind of thing. And it's really a shame when you get people on there on a forum like that they may be perfectionists. Well, that's great, and you can suggest things, but don't go in there and act like they have to take everything you say and put it in their stuff. What'd that say?
he said he knows that he can keep his face on the screen longer from now on.
uh, Associated getting ready to build one for a club lat down most. I recently discovered they are laid back, but I mostly work on my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect that there's the right size of club that would be, 3 or 4 people in a club might work well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's probably some kind of medium size that would be just the wrong size where you didn't have any kind of say so in what's going on. And then there would be maybe a larger club where, my engagement with the club is very limited. And so therefore it might not cause me the same kind of stress that another one would. But, there's no chance I will ever be a part of a club. So, because they're just not any within reasonable driving distance from me. If I wanted to go to Dodge City or Oklahoma City or Amarillo, you know.
None of those are close.
Dodge City's the closest. I think it's about an hour and a half. I can't remember exactly. Roy could probably tell me, but I've been up there several times, but I haven't reached out to anyone in that area. But I think that there is a club, and that's where the nearest NMRA adjudicator for things would be for my area, if I remember right. I saw something online about that when I was looking into getting some NMRA certifications, which is somewhat appealing.
Roy, it's on Dennis's end because I get it too. It just his video will pause every once in a while.
I'm hardwired in. There's nothing I can do better than that.
Yeah, your audio's coming through just fine. It's the only thing is that every once in a while the video pauses, and it's
I don't even have my Wi-Fi turned on right now. I got my Wi-Fi turned off on my computer, so
yeah,
not Wi-Fi.
Well, it's probably a bandwidth thing with your provider would be my guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, Roy says trees, DG 1.5 hours. I don't know what that means. It's probably something simple, but I don't know what it means. What did I say? Hey, Lynn, come on in if you want to come on. We got room.
Yeah, you put the link up in the chat, didn't you?
Yeah. Just scroll back and get it, or I can do it again. I'll do it again. There it is again. Anyway, Dennis has been working on stuff. You guys probably saw his premiere. I missed it when you were on there. My son's in town again, so we were conversating, and I missed it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people that came in and after it had already premiered and thought they still had like 45 minutes until it began because I moved it back an hour, which I think I did post because I did that. I think that's my second or third show that I've done it that way. I posted on the first one that I'd moved it up. I didn't really scream that from the rooftops in a way I probably should have. I need to maybe address that in my next video. Say, hey guys, from now on, I'm starting at 8 instead of 9 Central Time. Morning, Lynn.
Yeah, I'm here, sort of. I mean, whiskers are crooked, and I don't have my teeth in, and I wasn't expecting to be on here. I don't want to overdo my welcome. You guys have allowed me to pop in here a few times. So,
oh yeah.
So, on the club thing, I don't know if you saw my comment in the High Desert Modular Model Railroad Club. Say that fast 4 times. We got a pretty good group. Everybody gets along. Everybody has their little niche. I mean, we got a couple of guys from NASA, which really helps with the electronics and so forth. A couple of carpenters, a bunch of retired old guys. We had a guy a few years ago that was just a real pain in the butt, and I pissed him off and he left, and we've been a happy bunch ever since.
There you go. The problem is when you can't piss them off enough.
Yeah, well, I had no problem. At the meeting, I got up and I said, you're going to be really missed, like a sore toe. And he got up and left, and we haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
Coffee. Yeah. Hey, where's my bacon and eggs? Last night, I saw the thing come on, and I said, no cookies. I'll take toast and eggs. And
I don't know what time was it. Midnight my time, I think, when I finally got to show those today.
Yeah, I think it was about 9 something.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll forget about it sometimes and forget it's even Friday. And so.
Do you ever, I don't know if it's a problem or not. A bunch of my friends, same age or close to it, we wake up at 3, 4 in the morning and start thinking about, well, trains and all kinds of weird stuff. Last night I saw the train freak, or now Colonel Cotton Belt. I keep kidding him about that. That Dwight Curley has out a challenge for tank cars.
Yeah.
I was real disappointed. I was expecting army tanks, which I got videos of that.
Well,
So
if he didn't specify, you could still do that.
I was thinking about it. So 3 o'clock this morning, I didn't get much sleep. But anyways, I started putting together a list of putting a video. I got my camera on charge right now, and I'll dig out my tank cars, and I got a haunted house back here that will fit in great. I've already got a skeleton ready. I got lighting effects where I can have lightning. And I found a file for thunder. So sometime this evening, I'll have a YouTube out to reply to Dwight's tank car challenge. So that'll be my day. I've had a rough week. You were talking about not working in the train room. I was literally bedridden for about 3-4 days.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah, I get these about every 5 to 3 years. Simplest thing. One time I was trying to reach for a sock in the back of the dryer, and all of a sudden I couldn't move. I mean, paralyzed with pain. It's like somebody sticking a knife in you, and okay, you know, Claude. Yeah.
Well, I know. Yeah. Yeah,
And
my back's always been that way.
doctors have x-rayed me and turned me upside down and shook me, and they go, you got a weak spot in your spine, and
Yeah,
we can't.
The last time I went to the doctor that wasn't a chiropractor, I went in because I was having to use the walker in the house just to get around the house. And I went in because I thought I'd ruptured a disc or something. That's how bad it hurt. He did the x-ray and stuff, and other than a few bone spurs and arthritis, there wasn't anything wrong with my back. All my was good, but you know.
When I was about 18 or 19, I was working in a feed mill, you know, where they grind up grain and make stuff out of it. And I was tasked with driving down to the beach and getting a truckload of crushed oyster shell. They feed it to the chickens to make the eggshells hard. And I got back late, and everybody was gone. The night watchman hadn't even come in yet. And these bags, imagine a bag of cement. 100 pounds is a small bag, but it's 100 pounds. And the eggshells or the crushed oyster about the same. And I was stupid, and I wanted to go home. So I was only supposed to stack maybe 5 tall. That's 500 pounds. I did 10. And I could jockey the hand truck back and go in and stack them up, and I'm rushing back and forth. And the last one, I pulled a little too hard, and it went all the way over. And now I'm pinned to the floor with 1,000 pounds of crushed oyster shell on top of me. It didn't crush me because the hand trucks are made so they can lay flat. So I'm pinned under it. I was a lot thinner and smaller then. I don't know what happened. Anyways, I literally pushed up, and when I did, my back just went pop.
Oh yeah.
And I was afraid I was going to get in trouble for, you know, doing what I wasn't supposed to. I could have done a good lawsuit, but anyways, this was in about 1968, 69. And ever since, sometimes if I get a cold, it'll settle. And you were talking with a walker. I couldn't even get out of bed. I mean, just to move, it was just. So I don't know what happened Monday, because doctor gives me some good muscle relaxers. They don't help with the pain, but helps you sleep. Tuesday, the wife insisted I at least eat. So I had a piece of toast. And by Wednesday, I was able to somewhat get mobile. And yesterday and Thursday, I'm sore, but I'm up running around just like I was a week ago.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I haven't been in here much, but I'm planning on doing something today for the video. So we'll see how that works out. I can keep yabbering if you want. Yeah. So,
Speaking of that, I think I've shared this before in a video that I did, years ago. But I used to work on windmills. I was a windmill mechanic, and there was a guy that lived west of the town that I lived in at the time I was a windmill mechanic. He had worked for the Santa Fe in Winoka, Oklahoma, which was a huge railroad town at the time. Back in this would have been, I'm presuming, the 50s. I don't know exactly when, but he worked on the ice docks, loading ice into trucks or into rail cars. Somehow or another, a block of ice fell and hit him in the back and broke his back at age 23.
Oh.
And so he had lived, of course, when I'm talking to the man, he's in his 70s, probably. I don't know how old he was at the time, because this I'm sure he's no longer living, because I would have been in I think I worked that job up until about age 28, maybe. I don't remember exactly. But but at any rate, he had lived his entire life with a broken back, and I forget how many surgeries he said he'd had. But you knew the man was in constant pain. You could tell by talking to him. You could tell by the way he moved. He sweat profusely, constantly. He was a great guy. He owned, like, I don't know how many windmills he had, but once a year we would go change the oil in every one of his windmills this is what you're doing today all day long, is just changing oil in windmills. And after we got finished, he would take us back to his office, because he was a lawyer as well as being a farmer rancher. He was owned law offices, and he had a traction bed in his law offices, and he'd give us a Coke or whatever at the end of the day. So I consider myself fortunate that I've never sustained, an injury because I did some stupid shit. I mean, stupid stuff when I was younger. That
we all have.
Very easily gotten hurt.
Back when we thought we were all
invincible,
and thought we could do anything we wanted. But I hurt my low back got hurt one morning. I went to pick up some shoes, put my shoes on, and next thing I knew, I was on the floor on all fours. And I like to not got to where I went to work, but I like not got there. And I was there 20 minutes, and I went to the chiropractor, and 2 adjustments he had me fixed, but I was a lot younger then.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that now.
Yeah, I used to throw around 90-pound bags of bentonite mud, tote 15 and 20 feet strings of drill pipe on my back. I did a lot of jumping too. To get from point A to point B, you just jump. And if there's any one thing that somebody a little bit older than me told me one time, because what I would do is I would climb out, and I know we're not talking about railroad stuff, but I would climb out of the cab of the truck, get on the roof of the truck, and then jump into the gravel in the back of the truck before we would, gravel and cement casing for a water well. And, one of my buddies, he was about 10 years old, he said, "You're going to regret that. One of these days, you're going to regret that." Yeah, if I could go back and never make a decision to jump anywhere again, I would, because my knees are probably my biggest issue right now.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was digging ditches, crawling under houses, replacing water heaters. The new water heaters, lightweight, the old ones that were full of sediment, that's where the heavy came in. And yeah, it was, but there again, young and dumb, and thought we could do everything, and yeah, paying for it now. So
I've got a good dumb story for you. When I was probably around 21, 22, I got a job at night driving a gasoline tanker. It was a small truck. It wasn't not like Container Man. This was just a single axle, little over 1,000 gallons. And I went around to freight yards and topped off the fuel in the real big trucks. We carried diesel and gas. And of course, I was in a car club, and we would meet in the south end of San Bernardino, little shady, and guy talk. And somebody came up with the idea that I could do a wheel stand with the gasoline truck. You can see where this is going. I'm still alive somehow. I made $100 that night. All the car club guys, money going back and forth. I had half a tank or half a load of fuel, air brakes on the truck, and I knew if I hit the brakes and let off, the gas sloshing would actually lift the front of the truck. So I put it in granny gear. All the guys are out there lined up with their cars and everything. It's like one of the old movies, guy going off the cliff.
Yeah.
And it went up in the air. I pulled the front wheels. The truck went up. And what goes up has to come down. I didn't think I was going to be able to stop the thing. It was hitting the ground. Then I started thinking, well, shoot, what if I rupture the tank? And there was stuff flying around in the truck. Only did that once. I did a few stupid things.
Never did anything like that. But
I've done worse.
I know what I'd have been thinking. I'd been trying to get out of the truck. But we did stupid stuff when we were young. Just absolutely.
My pop worked for the Santa Fe Railroad in San Bernardino. Right out of high school, he went to work 1926 and became a machinist. And some of the evening stories at dinner, Mom got a little upset, but the injuries and things that went on in the rail yard were pretty gruesome. I don't want to upset anybody, but I mean, guys got killed or maimed or, really horrible things happened to them. Interesting stories. Made me not want to work for the railroad. So
yeah. Well, it's like being a brakeman before they had the automatic brakes. The air brakes and stuff. No, don't want to do that.
Is it okay to tell gory stories? I mean, I won't get too graphic, but I don't want us to get bumped off of the air for.
I don't think we have enough following for that to happen. There's probably 20 people in chat.
You were talking about the brakeman up above in the yard when my dad was there, and I kind of thought maybe the story was embellished until my father-in-law, who was a carman at about the same time, told the same story, that the guys had to go out and the air hoses and stuff between the box cars, when they were moving them around in the yard, they had to manually disconnect them. And guy slipped or something, and the couplers caught him right in the middle between two box cars. And he didn't die. They got his wife down there. They brought in a chaplain, last rites and everything, and he was going, but it literally pinched him off.
Yeah.
And the guy finally, said his last words, and he says, "I'm ready." And they signaled for the engineer, and they pulled the car parts, and he just dropped over. That was it.
Yeah.
And I wondered, that really happened. And then I heard it from more than one person. So yeah, little things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard something like that happening in New York in the subway when a guy got trapped between the platform and the train. Basically, did the same kind of thing.
Cheerful morning conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, make you want to go have breakfast in it.
Yeah, I don't want no cookies. No, I want toast and eggs, and I got my coffee. Yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, so yeah,
well,
Dennis, your styrofoam work is great. I just suggested about Thunder Mesa because I watched how he gets in there and brushes them and all like that. No, I don't want you to copy Thunder Mesa. His is the Walt Disney Thunder Mountain. I mean, it's really good. Yours is there. You're up there. Is even better. What you were
Well,
showing me the other night. That was
no,
awesome.
mine is not supposed. I think I confused a lot of people maybe in that video, thinking that I was trying to create mesas, and that's
No.
really not the topography that I'm after. I just used, these photographs. I just use them for inspiration. I'm looking at real geography and trying to create something that nature would actually create. What is going to take place up there is something closer to, if I understand the geography correctly, it would be like hoodoos and sandstone pinnacles that you would see in the Seven Castles, which is near Leadville, and even coming out of basalt, there's more. They're not mesas, and I think everybody thought that I was going to build mesas up there because I mentioned that these were mesas, and that's not at all what I'm going after. I'm going after rock spires. I think you mentioned something closer to what you've got going on in the background behind you, which is, yes, closer to something along those lines than what anything is really going on with the Thunder Mesa.
Yeah, it's over there. This was based on a picture that it was a real picture. I don't even know where it is. It's somewhere in this room. Oh, there it is. Hang on. This is on a piece of metal. When wife and I were dating, she found this in a secondhand store.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, no, it's not the same, but as close as I could come to it. She was impressed because she said, "You can have this room if you can make something like this." And yeah, but I was watching what you were doing, Dennis, and you've got it down tight. You are an artiste.
I'm just a
I'm
guy
just
trying
an
to
old
build a
bumbling guy.
I'm not going to claim to be any kind of artist for sure.
no, but he will tell you he's a perfectionist.
Well, I can't deny that I have a particular way of wanting to do things,
Yeah, and there's
and
nothing wrong with that.
no,
in fact, it makes stuff look really nice when you get done.
yeah.
I mean, I've seen your work up close, and it's top notch. I mean, better than what I do. Mine, I do more of mine for the overall look, excuse me, than for, real
Well,
precise detail.
I'm trying to find a balance between those two things, because there had in a large model railroad like what I'm doing, you have to find the right balance of how much time am I going to spend in any one 3 foot by 3 foot location if I ever want to be able to get everything scenic. There's a certain amount of decision making that has to take place of just time spent in a location. So, and I plan on concentrating on everything in here, probably at least through the end of next year. I think that's kind of the goal right now, is how much can I get accomplished with the overall footprint of this area to completion. Not necessarily, completion is not the right word. At a level that I can live with, and then move on to another location like Silver Gulch.
I chuckle when you said within the year and so forth. Over a year ago, I had a turnout right here, short out. Well, here's the turnout. Yeah, maybe next year I'll get around to replacing it. That's my speed. Yeah. Literally,
Yeah.
I just cut it out, put a piece of track in there so I can run trains, and yeah, I'll get to it someday. You know, kind of like when my wife asked me about doing something. Yeah, I'll get to it. I do get to it. I just don't say what year. You know, I'll get
Well,
around to it.
sometimes we get afflicted with that disease, that but first disease. So I'm going to do this, but first I need to do this over here. But first I need to get this done. And you start stacking stuff up in line. That you got to do this before you can do this and this and this and this before you can do any of this. And yeah, pretty soon it's a year or two later, and you still haven't done it. Yeah.
My biggest problem is YouTube. I turn the computer on in the morning. It stays on almost all day. And, read the emails, look at Facebook, and then I click on YouTube, and all of a sudden I'm watching the Train Freak, and then I'm watching Dennis, and then I'm watching you, Claude, and then I'm watching Jack and everybody else. And all of a sudden it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and I got to go take a nap. And I come back, and then I start watching the car videos. There's the whole, half-assed garage up in Canada, and I mean, there's a whole list: Fab Rats and Matt's Off Road, and all of a sudden the day's gone. And nothing gets.
I do
done
most
on
of
this.
my YouTube watching of an evening, and I don't even turn on the computer. Like I might, drink my first cup of coffee, like on Friday morning because I have Fridays off. I will watch a video or two while I drink my first cup of coffee, depending on what's available and I haven't seen already. But then the computer goes off and I'm in the train room for the rest of the day trying to accomplish something.
Yeah.
I do get a little bit of work done watching Dave from Crooked River and Sorry Steve Childers on Wednesday and stuff like that. That I've been working on this little guy, putting windows in it, and this is a Tyco. I mean, a cheap Tyco. I'm not into Burlington Northern, but I don't know. It was free, and I'll see what I can do with it. I got metal wheels on it. I've got my couplers for it. By the end of the month, I may have it running. Well, can't be the end of the month because I'll be out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So, but yeah, that's going to slow me down too. 32 days in the Pacific. We leave on October 15th and get back November 17th. So that's going to, I got my sea pills and ginger and a whole bunch of stuff. We're taking a whole suitcase, small suitcase, of just medical stuff. I found, I don't want to share all my pills. Immunity. Well, yeah. I found this online to boost your immunity. It's got zinc. It's got elderberry. It's got, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff in it that I can't pronounce, even when I do have my teeth in. And then I talked to my doctor. He wasn't much help. He says, just over the counter. So I went to a pharmacist and I said, we're going to be on a ship with 3,000 people for 32 days. The odds of catching something are about 100%. I mean, just the other day, Royal Caribbean, 100 passengers came down with the norovirus, the stomach one. And the pharmacist was great. Came out and she said,
well, Lynn, the problem, because we cruise a lot too. I've never been sick on the cruise ship. My sister-in-law got sick one time, and we're pretty sure she was sick before she got on the ship.
Yeah.
Norovirus, what they don't tell you, it sounds real scary because it's always on a cruise ship. That's because they have to tell the CDC.
Right.
But it's much more prevalent in elementary schools and nursing homes. That's where it's really bad. But if
my wife's a retired teacher, she knows about that.
Yeah, we are adamant about keeping our hands washed and hitting the sanitary deals, the antiseptic deals every time we go buy one.
Yep.
And that'll keep you from getting sick pretty much. Both of us have never been sick on one, and we go all
I
the time.
about 50% of the time, I at least get a head cold. I get the
I'm not even that
sneezing,
happy. Yeah.
all like that.
I had
So
that here.
I
I
got,
had that here a couple, 3 days ago at the house.
yeah.
I wasn't even around anybody. So yeah,
So with the pharmacist was great. She's going, here you go, this, take this, take this. So we got a whole little suitcase, that big box of Band-Aids, because I'm always bumping the bed and
yeah.
bleeding. And everything we think we might need. And if we don't, we'll have it for the house when we get back. So
Well, especially if you're gone that long too.
yeah.
We do that for a 7-day trip. We take every kind of over-the-counter medication we think we might need, and rarely do we use it, but we've got it if we need it. Because if you have to buy it on the ship, it's like $10,000 for a bottle of aspirin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's my biggest thing I would tell people that we're going to go cruising is wash your hands every chance you get,
Yep.
and that'll keep you from getting sick. That's what happens.
We even have
And you probably know this too, Lynn. You go into the dining room and they want you to wash your hands. Go in the dining room. How many people walk by that and don't wash their hands? And
yeah.
then they go in
Yeah.
there and they touch all the utensils and all that stuff. And so you gotta protect yourself, because there's too
The
many
thing
people
about
that
that
don't care.
is we're cleaning our hands. I carry these little
Yep.
things around with me. I used to work in service in a car dealership, and I hated to hand my pen to somebody because you see them over there going, and then they take your pen and sign. Get my pen back. I wanted to just throw it in the trash, but I'd wipe it down, and so I got used to it. My wife, being a retired teacher, Gail might already know about this. Her immunity is way up there. She hardly ever gets sick. I'll be sick maybe twice a year, and she may get sick once in 5-6 years. And and if she does, she gets sick, and the next day she's up running around like nothing happened. She's got a really good immune system. But oh yeah, interesting. I wanted to bring up something. Dennis, watching how you build yours, I see others that use the lattice work with the cardboard and stuff like that. This is all, where is it? Over here. This is all built out of scrap styrofoam out of boxes. Used to go by the, behind the dollar store and places like that. They throw out all that stuff. And I would just cut it up sometimes with a hot knife and stack it. This is all just stacked styrofoam all the way to the top, and then plaster molds. What is it? Whatever they call the company that makes those things. With the one with the tree on it. And they're just, they got some glue on them and slapped it on there and then stained the daylights out of it.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways to do stuff, and you can do it somewhat inexpensive. I would say this whole thing right here probably doesn't weigh more than maybe 5 pounds. Plywood weighs 10 times more than what the whole thing does. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well, that's the
going
way.
to use every method available. I've already decided.
And that's what I did.
Every method that can be used, I will probably use, at some point in the build.
Yeah, I did all kinds of stuff, because I have over by where I had the cattle pens, I had a little, not a mesa, but I had a little hill right there with sagebrush and stuff on it that was built on a styrofoam piece that I could pick up, take off of there as a hatch, so I could get into the turnouts for the staging yard, small staging yard I had. But I did styrofoam there. I did plaster on it. Did plaster over everything, but I used styrofoam. I used cardboard strips. What else did I use? I used some spray foam in a few places.
I've used spray foam before, yeah.
Yeah, can come in handy. Of course, it's a little harder to deal with, but there's.
Yeah, if it expands beyond what you need it for, you just carve away what.
Yeah.
I got an interesting spray foam. Some of my modules, I don't know if you've seen it or not, One is the cement plant up at Monolith near Tehachapi, in right up the road here. Built this really nice tower, lights, all the good stuff on it. Are you sewing bobbins for stuff? I mean, there's a transmission filter out of a Saturn on top of it. You know, I use whatever I have laying around. But anyways, I knew it would get handled, so I thought I would reinforce it with spray foam, and put it in there, filled it up. Next day, I come out and I look at it, and the whole thing was like, well, just totally destroyed it. Kept expanding all night.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Went through 3 of them before I finally got one that stays together and has lasted over the years.
Yeah, that spray foam is touchy because there's some that you don't want to put in a confined space because it will tear something up. And they make some for that. That makes the window and door foam that never expands to the point where it pushes it out. It stays soft even after it cures. But the one that gets hard, yeah, they can use it, shoot it under a concrete driveway where concrete's broke and sunk in, and they'll shoot that foam in there and raise it back up. And that's all they do to it. I've seen that done here in town, and it's kind of amazing that they can do that. It'll do that, but it raise a 4-inch slab up like it's nothing. So you got to be real careful putting that kind of foam in anywhere. But
you got to
problem
remember
with
who you're dealing with. I didn't know that. I just thought, this will make it good and rock hard, solid. And
well, I did the same thing. We put in a window that was actually built out, kind of like a bay window, and I was spraying the foam in the side where it had the 3/4 plywood on the inside, furniture grade plywood on the inside of the window frame. And the next morning it was just buckled right out, almost broke the windows.
Wow.
Had to tear it all out and redo it, and that's no fun. But yeah, some of that foam can really push stuff. You got to be really careful with it.
yeah, if it can lift concrete, I didn't know that. That's some
Well,
heavy
now
duty
the stuff
stuff.
they use for that, of course, they're shooting it in there with a truck. They've got a
Yeah.
truck that's got a large amount of it, and I don't know what the chemical composition of it is, but I'm assuming it's very similar to the great stuff that puts out, which is the one that'll expand and get hard. But it'll hold a lot of weight. Push something that you wouldn't think it would push. But anyway, so Dennis, you going to show us what else you did past your video?
Well, like I mentioned in that video, I kind of have quit doing anything this month. The only thing I've done, and I'll just do it real quick, just because if I can, I've got enough, so I don't want to unplug. The only thing I've done is I went ahead and cut away the fascia so that you can see the work that I've done, and then I've kind of gone in. Where's it at? And went further down the fascia in there. So, because I got way too many other things to do this month. Plus, I think the wife has got 2 weekends scheduled somewhere other than here. I know one for sure. I'm not sure about the other. She really wanted me to go with her to the Gloss Mountains last weekend. I drive by there every day, and I'm like, babe, I go through there every day on the way to work. I really don't want to take another, because it's probably an hour and 20 minutes there, give or take, from my house.
And there's nothing out there.
Well, I mean, she climbed. She went by herself. She climbed.
Oh, she goes climbing.
And took pictures, and
I knew there was something wrong with her.
Yeah.
You said it.
I mean, she just wanted to get out of the house,
Yeah.
and
I can't. Yeah.
I don't mind getting out of the house, but if it's going to be a drive anywhere, because damn, I'm driving 3 hours every day, which, you know, we touched on. Someone in the chat mentioned, I think it was John Dilly said that will change when you retire. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but I this Thursday I went in, and my work has a retirement calculator, and I went ahead and put in all of the numbers into the retirement calculator, and in theory I could retire tomorrow and not change my lifestyle I believe. At least that's what the calculator says. I have my doubts that in practice it would actually turn out that way. But if I retired and took like a part-time job or even a full-time job that got me home at 4 o'clock every day, and I only had like a 15-minute drive, I could, in theory, go ahead. And I calculated it at 22 years of service. If I work another year and a half, I can retire at 25 years of service. So I think I'm going to work another year and a half and then get serious about trying to get more time in my life than what I've got right now.
Yeah. Well, you'll get, when you retire, you get more time and you notice it right off. And then after a while, you go, man, where'd all that time go?
Yes.
Because it's funny how it's, of course, part of it's just getting older. The older you get, the more each year is less fraction of your life. You know, when you're 2 years old, 1 year is half your lifetime. When you're 60, it's a 60th. So,
Right.
you know, that's what makes time, go by so quick. But when you retire, it really starts. I've noticed that just in the last 3 years.
I think they call that the toilet paper roll. The closer to the end, the faster it goes.
faster it spins. Yeah, that's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
just
you don't have to be anywhere most of the time unless you're joining something else. Um, or my golf partner just is texting me golf times, um, and playing golf and stuff like that. So that's what takes your time up, and everything else is kind of a blur in between that because you're not. Sometimes you're just sitting, watching TV or watching YouTube or something like that. So, but yeah, it does. It seems like it goes by faster once you retire.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other part of the equation that, Scott kind of hit on there. The major expense of the railroad, track, wood, all of the building components, that has kind of been part of the overall plan here, is that I would be greater than 90% complete with all of that before I retire. So the only thing I will really need to spend my money on concerning the railroad moving forward is scenery and, maybe the occasional kit or whatever. And then locomotive, which I've really got all the locomotives I need. I just need to get DCC and sound put in the ones that are in boxes, tucked away somewhere. So I think it's doable. I just got to make the decision to do it because there's a certain amount of fear involved. You work for the same entity I'm in my 24th year, I believe, 23rd year. I don't know anything different. I haven't done anything since my early 30s. So walking
Go
away
back to
from that
windmills.
is a little daunting.
You always go back to windmills.
No, that's a young man's job. I can barely climb a ladder now. I used to could shoot up a ladder in no time at all and come back down and wrap a leg around a stem, and do all kinds of things that I wouldn't dare attempt now.
Yeah, I used to be on a ladder or a stand of some sort working on something all the time. And we painted the back patio a year ago or so. And I got on the ladder for the first time in a year. My feet hurt so bad the next day just from standing on, and it was a step ladder. It wasn't a rung ladder. It was,
Yeah.
step ladder. So, but my feet hurt, my calves were sore, and it's all just from trying to paint the top edge of the wall around the patio. So yeah, it's amazing what your body will refuse to do
Yeah.
when you get older. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Retirement's great though. It is nice not having to be somewhere except where you want to be
Yep.
most of the time.
When my wife was retiring from teaching, she asked me what it was like to retire. I didn't retire. I got retired. The store I was working for, I was supposed to be temporary. Then I became almost full time, but I was on call when they needed me. So I didn't think anything of it that I didn't get a call. Then I got a letter in the mail saying I no longer worked there. That's how I was retired. And I told her, it's one of those questions when the wife asks you, you put a piece of gum in your mouth or something so you can think about the answer. And I told her, I said, I miss communicating with the public. I enjoy talking too much. I enjoy the guys I worked with. They were all good people, except for one or two. But the stress of dealing with the company owners, the factory, trying to I used to get really bad, real nightmares that I was still back at work, trying to satisfy the customer, satisfy the owner of the dealership, satisfying the corporation. They don't want to warranty anything on the car. The customer thinks everything should be free. And then the mechanic is kind of like, yeah, I'll get to it when I feel like it. And, it's just like, and then I wake up going, oh, I don't have
That's
to
a composite of our entire world right there.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed you guys were all wearing hats, so I had to dig mine out here.
There you go. Hang on a second.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Ah, okay. That looks like something Dave Todd would wear.
So I told her that, I missed working, but I definitely didn't miss working. And you were talking about the drive. My last job, you may know a little bit about California. I'm in the high desert. We're in the very far, far northeast corner of LA County, which is over the mountains and through the woods and across the desert. I had to go down to the city of Industry, which is basically southeast of Los Angeles. And on a good day, maybe about 2 hours. If it was a holiday weekend, getting home may take up to 4 hours.
And how many miles is that?
Actually, I'm guessing we don't go by miles; we go by hours. Probably about over 100, maybe 150 miles
Well, that's
one
a little
way.
further than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to drive over a mountain range, freeways, but freeways are parking lots out here, just 4 lanes, and drive down through down to Los Angeles, go east, out through almost to Pomona, south to Irvine, go by the racetrack, get down to the 10, out to 10. Yeah, I was a lot of driving. And as I told my wife, I said, it's Russian roulette. Seeing the accidents, the crazy drivers, it's just a matter of time. I'm going to be in one of those pileups, the car's upside down and everything else. That's some close calls. So I didn't mind retiring at all. It didn't hurt my feelings. So.
Well, my wife was kind of like you, where she was customer service for a very small company. In the last 5 or 6 years, at least, she was basically the one running the company. because the boss was off playing golf in Scotland or God knows where, or he's at the house in Florida or someplace like that. So she was basically running the company. And she finally, when she was able to lay that down and walk away from all that pressure of trying to satisfy customers and work with trucking companies and all that stuff, she's loving it. She plays pickleball 2 or 3 times a week, plays golf, a couple times a week. We bowl on Sunday nights. I mean, she's loving it. So she gets to sit and watch her shows on TV that she wants to watch whenever she wants to watch them, and she's loving it. So yeah.
Real quick, I'll tell you how I got retired. Working at a Hyundai dealership, and the majority of the customers were Korean. Okay. In fact, most of the service riders were Korean, so they could communicate. They have what they call customer satisfaction, CSI, customer satisfaction index. When you bring your car in, you get a survey, and how you fill that survey out is how the dealership literally gets paid. They buy the cars, they sell the cars, but the manufacturers give them preference depending on how high your surveys are, how good. So you're supposed to go out and convince the customer to give you a good survey no matter what. That's a hard sell right there. This woman came in and everybody ran and hid, and they go, "No, it's her. She's back." And I've been doing this for a long time. And I go, "I got it." So I went out, introduced myself, and she says, "I keep bringing it in. I've got a noise in the car. They can't fix it." And I said, "Let's go for a ride." Because I'm not getting paid by the hour. I was getting paid by the day. So it worked out okay. Drove around. There was a noise in the dash. I pinpointed where it was. I said, "You know what? I'm going to get you a ride home. I'm going to get it fixed, get your car clean, detailed, pick you up this afternoon. It'll be all taken care of." So she was happy. Told her about the survey. Away she went. Took the car out. Took one of the mechanics. Go, "You're going for a ride with me. This is the noise. Fix it." The guys fixed it. I drove it, made sure, had somebody go pick her up while the car was being cleaned. She came back. We drove around the block, and she was just ecstatic. "You fixed it." Nobody else in this store had taken the time to listen to me and do all this. Great. About a month later, come into work, boss calls me in, and he says, "We're in big trouble. We got the survey from the lady, and you're supposed to go 1 to 5, 5 being the best. She gave us ones, all the way down." I hit the phone, put it on speaker, called her up. "Hi, yeah, how you doing? How's the car?" "It's great. You guys are wonderful. You fixed it. You're the best. I got that survey and I gave you 10s.
Oops.
That was the last day I worked. That was it.
Oh, wow.
After that day, I never got called back, and then I got the letter.
Yeah.
And once those surveys go in, you cannot do anything about it. She gave us 10. Got 10. So that was the end of my career. I'm retired.
Yeah. That sucks. Well, we're over time, so we can get out of here. Oh, thanks for coming on, Lynn.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. I'm
And,
always short on things to talk about. So
yeah. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a good week. And I'm sure we'll be back next week.
all right.
See you
Bye.
later.